with EasyHoon drafting this a little bit, while BLG just go back to what they know and love. Nymaera, the Zeri was so good in game 1. It's always good for Elk. It is his most played champion. Now on 50, I don't even know. We've got to count playoffs in there, but it's a lot, right?
It's a lot.
So BLG just continue to look to set him up.
Yeah, and now I'm a little bit worried because the thing about the JAyce is that, yes, it is really good if you kind of get to choose your matchup. You do have that Maokai to kind of buy you some space. I'm wondering right now if Weibo just want to hold on to this as a flex pick and just say, look, you know, maybe we need to kind of chuck this into the mid lane. The problem is if you put the JAyce top lane, you might worry about something like a Kennen, which is why they have to lock that away. They can't force the JAyce in towards that top side. They're not going to do away with their... they are going to do away with their flex pick for this moment. So now TheShy gets probably the premier top laner on the patch, and Bin has to start trying to counterpick something in that top side. I wonder if an Annie gets locked in here for BLG just to try and contest mid-jungle 2v2, though. I don't know if they can chuck in a top laner at this point. They're wondering which solo lane to counter as it stands.
Nah, would be something as well. We've seen this a couple of times, the Yordle v Yordle battle, and Bin's going to pull that out instead of giving something like the Annie you mentioned. So we have our top laners locked in now. As you were just recalling, things like the Annie available, a lot of mid laners that we need to start looking at here with the change in compositions.
For sure, and you know, those mid laners going to be very important for Yagao to kind of flex around. He's played obviously a lot of stuff like the Veigar. Maybe you can have the Gnar slam into the Veigar cage kind of combo in these team fights. But just backtracking a little bit to, again, this top lane matchup, I am really surprised this is a Gnar being locked in because Kennen destroys Gnar early. In fact, Bin has used this matchup to that same extent in this split so far. So kind of locking in a self-counter matchup is basically saying, look, I want to get towards 2 items of the Hull Breaker before I can start threatening in side lanes, which is what Bin has always done. This is a bit of an ego pick from BLG's top laner.
I mean, again, why shouldn't it be? He's been playing so well, and I feel like against TheShy too, it's a call-out because TheShy's most played champion is that Gnar, and it's very obvious it's one of his favorites too. So TheShy should see this coming, should see how it operates. And it means that top lane is going to be all the more spicy for it, while we're talking about top side. Bot is just getting banned away. No Blitzcrank. I respect that ban, but BLG do have the option here to get their bottom lane support of choice if they so choose.
Now, the last of the playmakers, which On really loved to be playing, was something like either the Leona or the Rakan, which is now being hovered. As we said, Rakan been forced through in a number of BLG drafts, despite necessarily not having the easiest time. But that's going to be held until last pick. We don't have support yet. Instead, we have Yagao on Sylas. If you did not watch Yagao's Sylas game in round 2 versus RNG, it was magical. Solo kills galore, stealing ultimates and making an absolute mess of RNG's team. Now he has a Kennen ult to steal and a Maokai ult, both of them very powerful. And he has some ability now to really start throwing some of Weibo's tools back at them.
Does mean for BLG, though, they're leaving counterpick for support. So Weibo going to lock in the same duo that they played in game 1. And it's going to have to be a different variety for On. No Blitzcrank available, no Nautilus. The engaged support that is left up and standing is this Leona. And he took a page from this when he was on Suning. It was watching Sword Art play in his commanding position when Sword Art was, I guess, a lot better than he is now in the LPL. Sorry to Sword Art for the shade, but it is true. On has been someone who, again, following in his footsteps, his Leona's been up and coming and quite prominent as well. So we'll have to see how the direction leads here with Nymaera, then finally getting, I guess, some more reliable engage for BLG.
For sure. I think On having a playmaking engage tool, whether it's in kind of pick CC or teamfight CC, has been part of the blueprint for BLG's returns to stability through the back half of spring. They started off being a little bit thereabouts with their engages. They struggled a little bit towards the start of the split. This was one of the ways they stabilized. Now, looking at this game, though, compared to game 1, you look at what's
Jing Dong and the doorbell of the top for BLG in a commanding position as TheShy looking real cute coming onto Summoner's Rift for game 2. Oh, pause.
Oh, it's broke everything. Cuteness overload. There we go. Back to sepia.
Woo! And, you know,
I thought they are villain chairs. They are 100% like
maybe
League of Evil kind of chairs. I appreciate it. It is imposing. It gives a real sense of like circumstance and like this grandeur to it. But it is villain chairs.
They really are. And again, they're bangers. So Props to whoever did the chair design. It's like every player has wings or something. I don't know, like the Galio wings, maybe. That's what they were going for. But hey, we are back into Summoner's Rift. And Nymaera, we were talking a little bit about the emphasis changing from BLG. You know, maybe having to be a little bit more proactive here. Because with Weibo and how they can play this, seems like the Kennen is going to be a deadly issue for them to deal with as this game goes on. Oh, it's cute. Space.
I didn't know if that was
Bowie
cute or whether that was that. No, that is some meme template like material in terms of like it's me running away from 9 a.m. alarm on Monday going to work or something like that. 100% that kind of meme. E-start from Yagao. Going into bone plating though from JAyce. Of course, we have seen a lot more JAyce in this mid lane. JAyce has typically been a fairly strong level 1 trading champion in when he outranges a matchup and kind of chooses moments to all in. Not so great when he's range versus range or is against one of these gap closers. See that Yagao taking some hard trades. That will be fairly flippy. See if those junglers can get involved.
You see the aggression already coming through. Game 1 was very aggressive with the trades back and forth, and even through mid, already trying to find that net advantage. Bot was the same too, as level 2 versus level 1, it was the Blitzcrank that forced out the flash. On not going to have that same advantage here in this game, as looks like Light should be in a position control once again to hit that level 2, while Nymaera just speaking about all lanes. TheShy already doing a good job of trying to zone Bin off with the damage that he has access to. You talked about this being a bit of a lane counter. TheShy already showing us a bit of why.
Yeah, and it's not even starting with something like the E. We have occasionally seen E level 1 from Kennen to get an extra attack speed, get the first kind of Mark of the Storm prop down as well for a little bit of extra damage. It's instead going for the QW, waiting for that empowered auto attack, trying to get that 3 combo stun. Of course, the damage through with that as well. So wave control on that top side, mid lane, and actually all lanes currently pushing in for Weibo. But the thing is, when you're pushing in with all lanes, normally you think, oh wow, doesn't this give so many options to the jungler? Maokai is not great at playing aggressively. He prefers to kind of be responding to lanes, so I don't think he's going to be invading, especially into a Lee Sin. What he really wants to be doing is responding to Shun's first play of the game. Now, Shun on this Lee Sin has had some recent success with this, had some absolute pop-off games against RNG on this pick in the best of 5 just before this one. See if he can do the same against Weibo in game 2.
As that wave gets pushed up in the bottom lane, it looks like bot's not going to be the table of contents. As Yagao gone to Duck Sonic Wave. Xiaohu just dead. The timing beautiful, and Yagao sets it up to spike it down.
And Weibo, they're already on the move towards mid lane, but they just don't get the timing. Yagao, Shun, this Lee Sin, Sylas combo, so powerful once you hit level 3. And while Weibo are going to walk away with a double scuttle, TheShy, what's happening in this top side?
Yeah, I mean, Bin's got the auto attacks. There's the flash boomerang. Is it going to come through? TheShy has the lightning rush away. He gets the poke, but he needs a 1-2-3 boomerang. Dodged away, but Bin now up a summoner through whatever happened in the top side.
That is bizarre. I think the reason why TheShy gets a bit scared is because he doesn't know where Shun is after that point. I'm not sure he saw where he was, and of course Shun was in top river after that point. Actually, with the Scuttle Shrine up, there was a chance of that. I saw a comment earlier on Twitter, which was TheShy and Bin, not only just the world champion versus the world finalist, it's also the battle of top laners who just wish junglers didn't exist. So I completely agree with that one, as you can see that. But in the mid lane, jungler, of course, even though we have some object permanence issues when we start fighting in these 1v1s, you kind of hope that junglers aren't there and he pops out, kills you. Those end up turning up in that one. This is just, what the heck happens here? He keeps minion aggro. I think that's part of it. He keeps minion aggro into the bush because Bin dips into it. The minions kind of adding the extra DPS, and despite the cannon being good into the Gnar, TheShy taking a bit of an awkward trade.
Down a summoner, has to TP back to lane. Bin did the same, but he's got his flash still up and available, and Nymaera at that 6 point, that's when things get a little bit interesting, as Bin is fast approaching TheShy. Got about a full EXP bar to go, but something that we can keep our eyes on is meanwhile on the bottom lane, Elk having a good time against Light with this wave pushing back up against him. But that mistake, again, early on for Weibo, losing that JAyce out, giving Shun a bit of leverage. Nymaera, it just feels like we're talking about Weibo on a bad take all over again, and Xiaohu's going to go for the all-in. Level 6 is hit, but it's just the JAyce. And for Yagao, he's going to get close himself.
Yeah, next cooldown of E, this is still dangerous. Now, Xiaohu does still have flash. He might have to use it early.
Cannon. Oh, he gets away, but has to burn it. The fact that he has to burn it there for the cannon, it just doesn't feel right.
And JAyce without flash feels so horrid to play, and without that flash, we can't really necessarily play this 2v2. Karsa going forward,
double sapling. Okay, but the stolen ult, Yagao gets it before Karsa does. They're all in onto Xiaohu, and again, a kill goes down. Karsa now to 1v2 without Chris getting here nearby. On an Elka on the roam as the flash over the wall, but Shun isn't in threat. The flay will work, but the abscond of Duck there. Shun comes in for a Sonic Wave. Weibo Gaming are asleep at the wheel.
What is happening in mid lane and jungle from Weibo? This is Karsa, this is Xiaohu. Internationally renowned LPL legends, but they're being picked apart at the seams by Shun and Yagao, and we have to start talking about, is this the real start of the playoffs buff from Yagao? Had an incredible series versus RNG, coming out with some powerful games in this series as it comes through it. Yagao reigning champion from JDG, lest we forget that, and he is absolutely tearing apart this JAyce and Maokai with the early fighting potential of this Sylas. And Weibo are caught, as you said, asleep at the wheel.
I mean, Chris roams up and he's like, well, I've got nowhere to go. I mean, Nymaera, this is the thing. Weibo as a team, they just don't back down, right? I can't remember who, was it when we were talking about, was it TT or, I'm not sure. There was a team you and I were talking about late into the season that doesn't really give up objectives, doesn't really back down. Maybe it was Kitty who's also saying the same thing. Could
I think it was
like
OMG. Gonna throw that one out there.
Oh, it probably was, yeah. Again, there's a lot of teams in the LPL that do that, but I think for Weibo, they've shown us here in this series so far, they're just not willing to give up a play or call it quits.
I think that has been something which a lot of LPL teams have had to go through their discovery of. Hell, even looking at how Top Esports played just before they were eliminated by OMG, they were one of the few teams in the LPL that actually started to play with a bit more reservation until those Barons started to come up. We have Karsa heading towards topside as we're talking about this, but Yagao does have his hijack available once again and is hovering around in this bot river. Yagao, whenever he gets ahead on something like this, Sylas gets onto the map, gets his point of power early. He's also not a player of the Sylas that goes for Rod of Ages. He goes for the Everfrost, and despite my problems with that item on a champion like Ari, on the Sylas, it allows you to play through early power when maybe your Rod of Ages would be stacking up. It allows you to dive in and allow your Q2 pop to come through as well. And you can see he's building towards that again. Lost Chapter, Ruby Crystal, and Inventory. So as soon as that item is hit, BLG, wait for Yagao to turn on the afterburners and make some huge plays across his point of power.
But meanwhile on the map, just note that Karsa was spotted out in the bottom side, so Shun just starts off this Herald. BLG were the ones who got the first Dragon off the misstep from Weibo as well, so this objective take is looking good as Karsa Nymaera is setting up to get this dive, but Hook doesn't land. Waves pushing up.
I don't know if this is a good idea. You got level 6 from Elk, very bursty from the Zeri. They have to call this off. The cross map fails from Weibo. They can't do anything on this wave crash, so they lose Herald. TheShy does have flash on top side. What can Shun do?
Oh, it's a kick flash. Sonic Wave lands as well. TheShy with the Spicy Maelstrom flashes into range. He'll get out for now. Shun trying to chase this up, but the Sonic Wave ain't in range with the minion wave, so flash for flash as the Herald setup's there, but Shun's just going to back off.
Yes, I mean, with the flash ult from Bin available, I was wondering if there would be a kind of continuation of that play from BLG. Yagao's not roaming up to the play. Maybe that could have changed things, and Karsa, of course, because he called off that play bot side, is in position to respond top. So BLG not over-forcing and showing maybe a bit of that restraint, which Weibo haven't done in this series so far. Not like Weibo are getting any wins of their own, though, currently in this early game.
No, but TheShy, I'm just worried about what's happening in the top side here. Bin, a bit of damage done here with the poke out. CS looks like it's in TheShy's favor, but now no flash here. With Bin still having his own. BLG, they've got a 1k gold lead here in this early game, and Nymaera, we did say the onus was on them more so this time, but I think this is a brilliant start yet again, when BLG seems to be holding all the cards for how this mid-game transition is going to go.
Hugely so. Now Weibo making some big inroads onto mid lane and these jungle entrances yet again. You can see multiple times in this series, Xiaohu gets push and Crisp and Karsa are immediately in his lane. Do think that Yagao, credit to him for soaking up that pressure, done a fine job of that. As it stands, 3-man unit. I don't know if they're going to spot them how they are. Retreat from BLG.
On a cheeky ward outside the Dragon Pit. A minute till the Dragon comes up. Looks like Weibo were looking for a potential pick-off or some kind of preparation for that as junglers are hovering on the bottom side. Meanwhile, Bin goes for the all-in. Doesn't get that Gnar against the wall, so TheShy will survive for another day.
Does. Just using it for the last of his Mega Gnar Rage Bar. Of course, Gnar is kind of at liberty to use that as poke when you see an opportunity come through. He's starting to build up a bit of magic resist. This early pressure from TheShy not going to be necessarily lasting beyond that point. On the other side of the map, puts lands.
Okay, Chris not going to take it though. Death Sentence and Solar Flare, rather Zenith Blade from On. Not followed up either. There's Karsa slowing down as no one's really pulled the trigger to take that all in. 3 members hover around here with Yagao also once again being the first man to move. Now with Everfrost, Nymaera, and the Gore Drinker, it's 15 seconds till Dragon, and BLG have an item lead yet again.
They do. It's a point of power. As we said, early spiking item from the Sylas is not stacking up on the Rod of Age. And this is one of the reasons Weibo can't pull the trigger. It's very scary for them. If Yagao is just holding up above them, if they can steal that Maokai ult, which I believe is now off a cooldown internally on the Sylas hijack, that would be very, very powerful to cut off Weibo. As it stands right now, Xiaohu is first into the river, so that's a bit of a change from the last time a play was attempted.
He's come on in. Without his first item, it's still a lot of core damage here. Sonic Wave not landing. Zenith Blade goes on to Chris. He plays out, flashes from the Solar Flare. Death Sentence in return is no return at all. Sonic Wave taken as Yagao takes away Nature's Grasp. So the AP here from Yagao gonna hurt a bit. And yet again, Weibo just aren't able to achieve anything. And for BLG, they've got the push in bot, Nymaera, and Dragon just feels like it should be theirs for the taking.
Should be. BLG, this has been a bit of a recurring theme for them as well. They do play these chess matches, fencing matches around these objectives, around the vision. They've had the conscience to not necessarily overforce. As it stands, Weibo, they're outside of river, looking maybe for a steal. They have the lantern to try and get into the pit and look for the lantern out. Herald going to be spawning mid, ult thrown out.
Karsa's in the back of the pit at 1800. He's stuck there, Everfrost through. On jumps in, onto Xiaohu. This JAyce in a lot of trouble. Has to flash, and he's getting burnt down. Dragon goes down to BLG. And Summoner for Summoner trade, but a double Dragon. Mid looks like it's going down as well, Nymaera, at least for the plates for Yagao. And once again, that chess match you talk about, Knight to E4.
It is, well, he's waiting a little bit later into the bracket, see if he comes to play with these Grandmasters, nay, Challengers even, that are left on these rosters. So, BLG, they win out in this tense kind of standoff on bot side. They are no strangers to that style of play. They walk away with their neutral objectives very much going in their favor. And looking at player gold, Shun with those kill participation, huge point of power. We do talk about Lee Sin as a champion that can fall off a little bit, but with so many squishy champions being able to burst out.
Hello. Black Zenith Blade, Solar Flare's going to come through as well. The Lightning Maelstrom's already come through, but TheShy just getting whittled down. Bin gets some help, and this is not a new experience for Mike Shy Top.
Oh, it's not. And the Kennen counter pick, or rather the Kennen power pick, in a good matchup, which was countered, I suppose, by Bin, at least responded to, is just not working out. The early pressure, it's led to no plates, it's led to a tiny bit of CS, which is now going to be equalized up by the Gnar, who's taking plates just before that timer falls off. Bin, 1v1 Leona extraordinaire in the LPL, having another solid game considering the matchup.
And this just pushes BLG to that 1K once again, as Hex Flash going to be used in a bad back. Oh my god. Crisp is smiling, but he was moments away from making another mistake.
You raised that top hat. That one was a bit of a clencher. Xiaohu, no flash in this mid lane now. Everfrost through the wave.
And again, Sonic Wave ready to come through. Abscond of Duck, the Kingslayer, the damage. The Shock Blast has blocked Karsa. A bit of a hero here as Sonic Wave's still going to be taken. On now joins in as there's a Bramble Smash. Xiaohu's still trying to get out of there. TheShy is helping out Xiaohu as well. It's Operation Save the President. And in fact, they're going to get on. Lights joined in. He's gotten excited. A play there. Maybe Weibo are playing wizard chess all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's got some extra dimensions in play. They summoned something from off the board. They've activated their trap card as BLG. They overplay in the similar kind of way that Weibo did when they had their advantages in game one. It was damn close though. Xiaohu, no flash, felt like that should have been the end of it. Maybe Shun could have flashed to secure that kill as Elk's recall is just completed. This is now going to be the Herald as well for Weibo. Big phase of play from them.
BLG were positioning like they could do something about it, but maybe that Super Mega Death Rocket means that absolutely not. So, as you said, it might be second Herald, but it's an injection of gold, Nymaera. It's the potential to blow down some of these turrets, and I have to say that that change in, I guess, dimensions of how they were playing, Weibo on a skin of their teeth, sometimes it works out like this.
Shun, big mistake. Sonic Wave goes onto a minion. That would very much have been a kill. And then he doesn't end up being able to flash into that kill because Karsa comes in for the disengage. Bit of an awkward moment from Shun, who's on the whole has had a very clean playoffs run so far, despite one Wukong game which couldn't really impact the game. His aggressive early junglers have typically gotten him a lot of value. As soon as that mistake is made, though, they can't really recover from that point. They're stuck in that fight, trying to recover something. Weibo walk away with a victory.
Bottom left, you can see that gentleman. He was a Weibo fan, but he was a little bit sus on the new feeling in this series, which was hope. You know, for Weibo, they might catch up a little bit in the gold.
Don't give me hope.
I mean, Nymaera, the problem is we're still looking at a JAyce that's been trailing Yagao and trailing Shun, right? We're still looking at BLG that have had control relatively throughout this game number 2. We have to remember that the strength you talked about is still there, and towards this next dragon, it'd be curious to see, because it would be sole point for BLG if they can pick it up. But Weibo, what do they need to move into this objective?
Well, they need a certain summoner spell and a certain ultimate to be really impactful. That's going to be a Kennen ultimate and a Kennen flash. There is no exhaust on the side of BLG. What they do have is the ability to either kick the Kennen out of the fight or to kind of flank around. As it stands, though, Yagao's the one that's making the first mistake. Has the flash to maybe get out of this ult.
He's going to use it in response. Yagao comes in, but the Twisted Advance finds his suit as Abscondum duck back in, the flash away. Zap doesn't hit him, the flash from Karsa, the Brambles match, the all-in, they kill him, but it's a Death Rocket as well committed, as Chris was in a bit of trouble with the Dark Passage to save his life. He doesn't get the flay in time. They jump into On, who's taking a lot of damage from this 1.5 item Jinx, as Herald using the back end, but look, a Sonic Wave connects. Elk is trying to take this fight. The kick's there. On the light, he dies. Elk flash commits as well. You don't mess with the blind monk and get away with it.
It is an absolute fist fight in the bot side as BLG pile on, and Bin in the 1v1 solo kills TheShy. This top lane matchup of international success, a world champion and a world finalist, goes the way of Bin. He takes out the trash and takes himself another kill.
And Elk to clean it all up again. Old man reliable, even though he's a lot younger than me. Nymaera, once again, watch this, because it took a lot to kill Yagao.
It did, because he just buys so much time. That extra ult kind of being able to be stolen alongside the Kingslayer. Early power again, as we said, allows him to, with his itemization, take out something from it. On the other side, as we said, TheShy losing the 1v1, which is not shown in the picture. Going back a bit late with Yagao is caught out.
We scrapping. We scrapping again. Sonic Wave, rather safeguard over the wall from the death sentence there. Elk taking a lot of burst. TheShy doesn't have the ulti. And Nymaera, we didn't get to see in the replay how that Kennen died, because he wasn't even involved. I think Bin solo killed him. Bin
it's actually not. Yeah, it's not like applicable for like broadcast at this point. Big fight in the mid lane.
Overstep. The play is messy. It's messy. It's messy. It's messy. But BLG clean it up. Oh, the maids are here. TheShy now trying to kill Elk, but he spaces back. And Weibo Gaming, they're getting Billy.
The maids are here, they're cleaning up, and it is a match made in heaven for this roster of BLG. Last year, they presented a dream roster. They presented a super team, and they couldn't make it work. Fast forward a year, BLG, they have another attempt. They put together some big names, but ones which maybe don't have the star power of the top teams of the LPL. But look just how coordinated they are. Look how they perform in these team fights. You wouldn't guess it.
This is an exquisite performance. Weibo fans must be eating their heart out right now, because with how close they're coming, BLG just always have the better counterpunches. Shun, he's been really good at separating these fights, Nymaera, consistently. It's been now apparently just taking names.
Shun, this guy, you know, he was the Kindred player, the aggressive carry jungler. And it's taken him a little while to kind of find that happy medium between, yes, having his own agency, but then also being able to kind of facilitate for all of these team fights as well. We've now got to the point where BLG are in a terrifying spot for Weibo, because Hullbreaker has been built up for Bin. They're already winning BLG in these grouped up fights as well. Weibo, we said that they wanted to be playing 3 5v5s, but I don't think they're necessarily winning that, especially since Elk, this player which, you know, quietly succeeds in every single game, it feels like, for BLG, is at 6-0-3, multiple items. This Zeri is once again a huge factor.
And again, Elk being reliable is a great sign, as BLG now grouping up towards this Baron. Weibo is so far behind that it's a 6,000 gold disadvantage with objective bounties up, with a soul in the Hex Tech form coming up here for BLG in 2.5 minutes. Everything's lining up perfectly that Weibo now with their own jungle are losing control.
They are absolutely losing control, and BLG's carries are ready to go absolutely off the chain. Have you ever watched much Demon Slayer, Hysterics? Bit of a deep cut on this reference.
No,
but you know when
right.
we talk about Elk being super reliable? Reminds me of a character who's basically a salaryman, and once he clocks out of work, that's when he goes a bit insane. Elk has done his 9 to 5 at this point.
Yeah.
He's done his work shift. He's ready to join a fight here as well. Ult comes out, but Elk is in the area. Weibo needs to be careful.
This advance is there, onto on. I mean, this is a Leona. The teacup comes out. A spotted tea and crumpet, says on, but Weibo Gaming, they're not going for that. I can say that because I've got British in my family history. At the very
I'll allow
least,
just this once. I'll
I am
allow
drinking
just this
tea,
once. You need to
and
apply for it each time, but yeah.
I do, actually. Just kind of like the visa, but hey, BLG don't care. They're sitting there chilling, having a cup of tea with Nana at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a good vibe.
Yeah, and Weibo, they had themselves a bit of a lead for a little bit of this game, it felt. As soon as they got themselves a look in around when BLG overstepped in that mid lane 2v2, that was their moment. Blink and you miss it, though. Weibo, they've taken another couple of bad fights. Again, it feels like those inhibitions, that angel on the shoulder has taken a bit of a vacation because it's only those dastardly devil thoughts saying we must fight all the time and then not leading them to a victory at this point.
Oh, God! You know what? You can't call this player trash. This is a bin. This is the bin. The one that takes it all in and complains not. 5-0-1. Bin
okay,
now.
another 1v1.
Here
round
we go.
2
Come
fight.
at me, bruh. Let's go. 15 versus 13. Xiaohu wants the shock blast, but he's about to go Mega Gnar. You do not mess with Gigabin.
This guy is just so powerful once he has this hull breaker. Weibo, they picked this Kennen to be a strong individual laner, to be a teamfight menace, and he's been able to achieve basically none of that. This top lane matchup, we saw how it went against RNG. Bin got the advantage, Bin ran over the series. TheShy, he's looking probably towards game 3 now and thinking, what can I do which I couldn't do in the first 2?
Because you're going to be on match point. It's going to require a reverse sweep at this point as Xiaohu teleports on Vision. They know he's there. Weibo haven't done their sweeping, and with Hex Tech Soul sitting up and available, they are struggling to get towards the river line, Nymaera. With even TheShy walking up into fog of war. Nob's gone to duck, but Bin chasing him down. Auto! Even the house comes at him. TheShy left with no money, no hope, and Weibo Gaming are meant to be our 4th seed. But Bilibili want to make a return to the top 4 themselves.
It is, and in doing so, taking down a team potentially that has so many huge names on it, so much history to it. They have 4 international champions at points in their career on the other side of the rift, but you really wouldn't tell it from the way that BLG just don't care about the nameplates. They've been playing their own style of League of Legends, whatever it is in the draft that they put it through. They are versatile, they're powerful, and they're going once again for these 1v1s. Bin is not taking prisoners.
He doesn't care about anyone. Xiaohu, he's next up on the chopping block as the all-in from Weibo through mid lane is their last attempt, but BLG are not giving it to them. Look at the split here, Nymaera. Look at the lane state. Bot shoved in, mid shoved in, top shoved in. Baron is now visionless. And BLG, after dotting the I's and crossing the T's, are ready to spell check Weibo again.
Ult into the enemy jungle, Maokai out stolen.
Okay, they go for the all-in solo play use here. We're looking at Bin in the bottom corner, but it doesn't matter because the fight is ending here. Lights up next as he sits under the turret. He's trying onto on, but he goes golden in the nick of time. Should still be dying here as TheShy joins on in. Light's going to get a reset. Slice Maelstrom defensive as Shun still goes all in. Light is going to get a kill. Light Yagami tries, but you know he dies in the end. A triple kill over to Elk, or rather a double, but we all know that BLG are stomping their foot on the face of Weibo.
Light goes down as Weibo take the L in that fight. Death across the board. Take note, this is how BLG find themselves into victories again. It has been with the side lane advantage, who makes the game almost unplayable for Weibo. They've been given so many problems across the map. Do you answer bot lane? Do you go towards this Baron? They've given such a difficult choice because it feels like they have no tools to fight at this point. Yagao also holds off in the engage, doesn't just dive into this tunnel where potentially he can get burst out. And despite Light doing a fair amount of damage, it's just so far behind at this point. 10,000 gold and a Hextech Soul. BLG. What a macro performance in mid-game.
And remember, again, this series, the loser goes home. There is no second chance. MSI has given LPL 2 spots. And for BLG, if they can make their way to the next round, they get not only double elimination, but there is a 50% chance mathematically that BLG will be at MSI. Nymaera, our top 4, 2 teams going through. That would be an insane return. As BLG, last time they made international wasn't even with the organization, it was with IMA as Ben. Hold on that historic. Crisp is coming over. Krugs are in the way. He's a level 17 Gnar. I think he can 1v3 it. I honestly think Weibo would lose this.
That is a jungle and a support who have no damage to their name. Bin looking towards that 1v3 and saying, oh, this isn't fair. You're going to need more people, right? And that means that once again, BLG, they give the best of 2 bad situations to Weibo and say, what are you going to do? Give up the Baron and try and kill the side lane. They're going 5 people towards the Gnar. All 5 of them.
Breaker, baby. There's a twisted advance to stun up. There's no damage just yet as everyone's on Bin. TheShy will pop the ulti. Bin's got the other 2 members of the family coming through. A Gnar ulti there. He's still alive. Dodges shock blast. Flashes past. Rocket doesn't kill him. Mini Gnar gets out. Gigabin!
Been there, done that, got the t-shirt and made it out alive. This Gnar is so infuriating. BLG are one of the most accomplished 1-3-1 split push side lane teams in the LPL, and Weibo have no options against it.
And now onto the base on Death's Door as Weibo chase down. They have to reverse sweep from now because BLG are knocking on the door of a game number 2 win. That's a beautiful ult from Yagao as well. The AP hurts, the damage hurt from everyone. It's a swift freeze to knock over Weibo, and BLG coming through as the 5th seed. After knocking down RNG, they look in prime position to take another member down in Weibo Gaming.
It is so exciting to see Bilibili Gaming play games like this. Playing that side lane style, playing towards pressure on one side of the map and then responding with objectives on the other. It's not as easy as it looks. It looks so good because you have players of individual skill like Bin and like, you know, the initiating players of Shun and Yagao in that game as well, with Elk also playing his part. The reason that this looks so easy is because they are so good at League of Legends. And Weibo, you know, they're now at the point, backs against the wall. Xiaohu looking down the barrel of a, you know, potentially a 0-3 where he wouldn't be able to defend his MSI title. This is a huge moment for both of these organizations.
I mean, it's huge that he can't defend his MSI title if they lose the next game or any other preceding games, right? But it's even bigger that Weibo with, as you said, 4 international champions on one team that makes sense in theory and that has seen such highs is getting smacked around by, I think it's kind of the misfits put together, right? Like Yagao dropped from JDG, Elk away from his time on WE and Ultra Prime. We have On, who is looked at as a mediocre support from Suning in the past. We had Bin, who was the only member left there, but again, was the trade deal that didn't really work out when it was the Uzi year. And then we have Shun, who has been a carry on IG, but also quite inexcusable with some of his plays.
He is the double-edged sword in the very truest meaning of it.
I mean, that's the thing. BLG look like pushovers in the roster, but are performing completely opposite to that. And Weibo are the ones who are really struggling to put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, again, BLG, more than the sum of their parts. That's something that Weibo would have really wished to have with this roster as well. But it feels like BLG, they look at that and they say, look, we are you, but better at this point. We are versatile. We have the top lane carry. We have this mastermind mid. Yagao in playoffs form. Cannot forget his his contributions to this team as well. It's really hard to kind of point a finger at one person on BLG and say that, you know, you're kind of the weak link or something like this, because they're all performing their roles really well. Even On, MVP of Game 1. Elk, huge kill participation again.